Good morning, listeners of South Coast Radio. I hope you are well, and I hope you have adjusted psychologically and your wardrobe to the arrival of spring. Although I must say, I consider spring to officially arrive round about the equinox. I think that's 21st, 22nd of September. But anyway, it is September and we do consider it spring, and we definitely can feel the change of the seasons. So I hope that finds you well and happy. Listeners, I thought we didn't get any requests for any topics, so shame on you. Please do send them in. But in the absence of a request, I thought let's talk a little bit about something that pertains to our younger listeners or to the younger members of our South Coast and further afield families, and that is structure. Now, the structures or the boundaries within which we operate teaches a child how the outside world works. So I have, in the last while, in my practice, seen quite a few young people who are battling because they were not taught structure from a young age. It's a skill, so it has to be taught. If your child knows that there's structure, there's a sequence of events within which we operate, within which we function, then life is a lot easier, and it also provides security. A child who does not have structure, does not have boundaries or discipline, battle in life. They don't know where they are, and they don't know how things work and how things happen, and they're kind of all over the place. So a child, remember, depending on their age, has no concept of time. Thus, it's up to us as parents to set times and to set structure and a sequence of events. That's a framework within which your child then functions. It also includes things like social norms, the please and the thank you. It includes things like putting your toys away, putting books away. We don't leave them lying around. A sequence of events would be your child gets to school at 8 o'clock, then they have a couple of lessons, then they have a break, and then they go back for more lessons. The child doesn't just wander in and out of class as he or she pleases. Structure is a skill that children must acquire. If not, they battle terribly in life. The earlier, the better, because it forms neurological pathways. In other words, they learn that you first do your work, then you can play. Or a smaller child will learn that we first have your food, then you can have a sweetie. Or you first have your mid-morning sleep, and then you can do whatever they want. You get up in the morning, you brush your teeth, you have breakfast, you get dressed. Those all teach our children a sequence of events that serves them later in life. When they're teenagers, you first do your schoolwork, your homework, then you can contact your mates on social media or do the gaming or do whatever it is. If they play sport, you come home after you've played sport, maybe have something to eat, do your homework, then we do the things we enjoy. The other thing that's quite important to realize is that, and our kids have to realize that, life is full of things we have to do that we don't necessarily enjoy. And that applies from the get-go till whatever age, whether it is, in my case, having to do filing, or whether it is doing the dishes, or whether it is doing your homework, or whether it is putting your toys away. Life is full of tasks that we don't necessarily enjoy, but we have to do them. They have to be done. And if we don't teach our children that sequence, that structure from a young age, they really battle, and it starts to show as they get to the higher grades. The demands outstrip their capabilities. So where they were perhaps able in the lower grades to get away, because there's a lot of maybe non-structured events such as drawing or playtime or on the mat time, now they're expected as they grow up to do tasks on their own, to be able to commit, to be able to concentrate. And unless they've learned this skill at a young age, they battle. And then we see the teenagers starting to lie. They tell tall tales to get out of a sticky situation. There's absenteeism is a problem because they haven't done the work, so now they stay off school under some pretext and they battle terribly. And it also leads to anxiety in the developing child. Folks, parents, and anxiety and depression go hand in hand. We see so many young kids suffering from depression, being on antidepressants. And whilst I don't want to get into that debate, I'm just saying, make sure your young person is not battling because they've never learned structure and the discipline that goes with structure, the discipline of knowing I first have to do my homework before I can go and socialize with my friends. I first put my toys away before I can watch my little program on TV. Kids who play first or do as they please battle in every sphere of life. I don't even want to chat about when they leave school because then they're out there and society is not accommodating or understanding of people who cannot slot into the structure, the sequence of events and the discipline of work life. And again, kids, young people then start keeping perhaps the wrong company. There can be things such as a substance abuse and just generally they get pushed out to the periphery of life because they're not fitting into the mainstream. So remember, you are the adult. You make the rules. And this does not mean if it's age appropriate that you cannot ask your young person for input. But you have the final say. If a rule has been broken, if appropriate, you can ask your young person, what do you think is the appropriate punishment? I had a young person who I said, what do you think would be the appropriate punishment? And he actually was quite harsh on himself. And it just illustrated to me that this young person is crying out for structure, crying out for somebody to set the boundaries within which she can operate. And it's not being given at home, and it becomes very problematic. You have the final say as the parent. You know what is best. Also, the earlier the better because it is a neurological pathway that forms. The child literally learns via a neurological pathway that you first work, then play. And once that is embedded, life becomes so much easier. It does not become a battle of wills of doing the work and then playing, and your young person does not want to do that. As I say, you have to be consistent. It cannot be, yes, you have to do the work first and then play, but next week you can first play, and so on and so forth. It has to be consistent. Also, what is important in the home life is that mom and dad have to agree on a parenting style. They have to support each other and not undermine each other. And do not allow your child to play one parent off against the other, because they lose respect for you, they don't trust you, and they do not have the guidance that they need to operate in the world. So make sure mom and dad are on the same page and support each other. They are a united front. If you don't agree with your partner, the other parent, then make sure you have a discussion behind closed doors, out of the earshot of the child, and you present a united front to the child. Make sure the instructions you give your child, again, has depending on the child's age, are clear and logical so the child can follow them. You wash your hands before you eat because you could get sick if you don't. So there's a logic there. If a rule is broken, show the youngster that it can be fixed, but there are also consequences, because life is choices and choices have consequences. And the sooner our young people learn that, the more empowered they are. And they don't feel that they're a victim of all sorts of unfairness and all sorts of conspiracies in life. They understand that I made a poor choice and now these are the consequences. Or I made a really great choice, and I am really enjoying the consequences, the positive consequences of that choice. But it empowers them to know that they have a choice and that there are consequences, and that sense of accountability and responsibility is tremendously empowering and serves them well in life. Rules, structure, boundaries teach our children respect for themselves, respect for others, and respect for property. So parents, do the hard work now, and the teenage years will be a breeze. But if you omit to do the hard work, the teenage years are going to be traumatic. And lastly, parents, I just want to say, remember, you are not raising a child. You are raising a father and a husband, or a wife and a mother, and hopefully a balanced, productive member of society, somebody who is going to enjoy life and enjoy the fruits of their labor and be successful. But it starts with teaching your child structure and boundaries. Again, as always, I hope that is useful. I hope that gives you some idea. If you need support, if you need guidelines, if you need a bit of an outline, please feel free to contact me or any other professional. And as always, remember, these talks are on Spotify and on YouTube. Please give us the thumbs up and subscribe. It does mean they are available to a wider audience and can help more people, hopefully. And folks, do send some requests in, and we will chat about it and hopefully enlighten you. And with that, I hope you have a lovely day and enjoy the weekend ahead.
The radio station you can't live without. This is your radio.
This is South Coast Radio.